Hey everyone, this is my quick look at the LEGO Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series Death Star. This thing is a real beast at roughly 16 inches or 41 centimeters tall and wide. It weighs over 11 pounds or roughly 5 kilos. It has about 24 figures included, and it represents scenes from both the Death Star 1 and the Return of the Jedi Death Star 2. This is a droid repair bay with a lot of tools involved here, and this room also has the controls for the working central elevator. This will actually pull this up, and you can put like a figure or two on that central platform in there, which allows those figures then to get access to each of the major vertical levels. This next space kind of takes us outside with a couple of the large dual turbo laser emplacements. Next up is a conference room. They have some storage space beneath the round conference table for some extra accessories, but that's pretty much it for this room. And let's move on over to the Death Star Super Laser control room. This has a couple interesting things in it, with a double-sided piece here with stickers that represent some targeting and also Alderaan. You can rotate this control panel around, or this whole control desk. This one can also be rotated, but it has this thing in the way that keeps any figure from standing there. However, that whole thing is actually attached to the super laser itself and allows you to turn it from side to side and to also angle it up and down. And the interior space is actually pretty nice. I like what they did with the control panels, the pullable lever, and the ability to see through the window at the actual working mechanisms with the gears and such. You can also move all this to the other side, which reveals a elevated platform with some more control panels up there, and that gear off to the side is used to open and close a sliding door to the nearby hangar. The hangar includes a miniaturized version of Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, but this does actually open up and you can just barely fit a Darth Vader figure inside. There is a very small elevator that comes up through the floor. It's accessed from a little crank on the level below. The next room over depicts Emperor Palpatine's throne room from the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi. Palpatine gets his rotating coffin-inspired chair, and he also has his fancy window behind him. And there are even a couple holes in the floor, so when you're done with the battle, you can toss him down there. The last big room on this level is the detention block. This has the security station up front, and this here is probably LEGO's best ever use of forced perspective. The cell for Leia is over on the right, and you can open the door like so. And there's also larger access from the outside of the model for us humans with our huge figure hands. Lastly, across the way from the cell is an opening that gets you to a chute down to the trash compactor. This gets a little bit claustrophobic, and rightly so. There's a very simple mechanism up above that you just push in, and both the walls start to come together, and at the very last second there's an additional mechanism just off to the side in the next room that allows you to open the door. This next room has one of the Death Star gun emplacements for point defense, and this has built into it 2 spring-loaded shooters, and you fire those off one at a time or together by just using these small triggers here. You just push down, there goes one, and there goes the other. The next room is the space beneath the hangar. This doesn't have any very specific purpose. They have this crane included, which is a nice small build, kind of a hover plate crane for just moving things around. But other than that, this is pretty much just an open space. They have storage for some rifles against the wall there, but not a lot going on here. So this next space is where you have Luke shoot his grappling gun across, and he does his heroic leap with Leia. And you can also pose stormtrooper figures up there and up there on the balconies. And that brings us over to the last very small room on this level with the tractor beam control, and Obi-Wan's doing his thing. He can actually pull one of these out, and the tractor beam kind of force field comes down, or the energy beam. You can just see that just above. It's a nice small mechanism. I mentioned there's a basement. Well, it really is a basement. It's just tall enough to hold figures, but this is mostly empty. They have just a little bit of cargo around so that it's not too boring. For minifigures, here are 3 different versions of Luke Skywalker, 2 from A New Hope, 1 from Return of the Jedi, and for the A New Hope Stormtrooper Disguise version, they do include a spare helmet for him. Han Solo gets 2 versions, and Chewbacca comes with a firing bowcaster. It can actually shoot off a single stud. And for the Stormtrooper disguise for Han, they also include an extra helmet. Here's Obi-Wan and Princess Leia. Honestly, not the best Obi-Wan figure, with some print color mismatches and no cape, no robe, not even an alternate face. Here's Emperor Palpatine with a couple pieces for Force Lightning and a second generation version of Darth Vader with the helmet that looks like he's looking up a little bit all the time. No prints on the backs of these torsos, and Darth Vader does not get an alternate face because they wanted to show some of the realistic scarring on the back of that head. It is the 2-piece helmet, so a little bit of it can stay behind when you open it up. Set comes with 2 Royal Guards, and these have just plain black heads underneath, so no faces and no torso prints on the back. Here are 2 regular Stormtroopers, so nobody in disguise in this case, although technically underneath it's Angry Clone. These are Death Star gunners. I really like the molds and fine prints for the helmets for these guys, and these 2 are absolutely identical, including underneath the helmets. And here's the final identical pair of figures in this set with the Death Star Troopers. These do have alternate faces, although the difference in expression is somewhat subtle. Here we have left to right Grand Moff Tarkin, an Imperial officer, and an Imperial Navy officer. The 2 on the right do not have any official names, so they're just generic characters here. For humanoid protocol droids, we get C-3PO and an Imperial RA-7 droid. Wherever C-3PO is, R2-D2 is usually not far away, so here's that one. And for an Imperial Astromech droid, they have R3-M3 in this set. It was seen just very briefly in the background of one scene. Lastly, they include a mouse droid and a floating Imperial interrogation droid complete with the clear stand piece. If you want to see a longer video about this, be sure to check out my full detailed review on the Jangbricks channel. If you like these relatively short and quick overviews, please consider subscribing here. Either way, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to have a chance to talk to you again very soon.